Jennifer Jones, Rotary International President for 22-23. Thank you for joining us from Canada today. I know you must have got up early to do this, and I'm really appreciative of it. Jennifer, out of 2020, there's been a number of really big challenges for the world, and particularly for organisations, particularly for the leadership of organisations. And one of those is obviously the critical aspect of business leadership, of large organisational leadership, and Rotary International is one of those. In your view, what style of leadership has emerged as critical for the future that we're going to need as we navigate the post-COVID world?
Well, thank you, Ian. And first, let me just say it is a joy to be able to be with all of you to celebrate International Women's Day. Thank you so much for including me. So, lessons learned from the pandemic, and if we reflect upon it, it's almost a year to the date that for many of us, we went into collective global lockdown, and it's hard to believe that a year has gone by, but I do believe that we have learned a lot of lessons. There's been dark days. We know that there's hope in front of us right now. But adaptability, I think, is probably one of the key things that we have taken out of all of this. It relates to our business lives, our volunteer lives, our personal lives. We've all had to be able to morph and do things differently. In terms of going into a brave new world, I think that these virtual platforms are the kind of things that we have to continue to harness. This connectivity that we have here right now is something that's not going to go away in the near future. And I think of examples right now of having a phone call. I don't pick up the phone like this any longer. It's, let's set up a Zoom link or a FaceTime, and having that instant connectivity with someone that you're even meeting for the very first time. There's a lot of people I've become friends with during the pandemic that we've not yet met in person, but I feel a very close connection to. And so I believe as we move forward, that is something that we definitely have to harness.
Every organisation has to morph and change if it's to meet the challenges of the future, and Rotary International is no different to that. I'd be interested in your views as to how you see Rotary International changing for the years ahead, and particularly off the back of lessons learned during the global pandemic. What do you think our experience teaches us that we can apply to the future?
Well, I think the most critical style of leadership that has emerged has been flexibility. Clearly, we've all had to understand how to be able to maneuver through a day, knowing that day to day, hour to hour, things change. And, again, that's not only just in our business lives, our personal lives, and beyond. And so trying to be able to take a breath, to understand that things, while they may be different and new to us, that we have the ability to, take a step back, look at the bigger picture. I think that for many of us, we've had the opportunity to kind of maybe see that some of the things day to day that might have got under our skin, or maybe that we thought were terribly important, aren't necessarily as important any longer. So that ultimate flexibility to do things differently than we've done before, to not be afraid to change, to hear advice from those around us, particularly those who are younger than us, who have lived in a virtual digital age their entire life, being able to understand sort of lessons that they're able to teach us right now too about how we adapt and how we can move forward with, increased flexibility. From a personal leadership perspective, I can tell you that embarking on this journey right now as president nominee for Rotary, it's changed dramatically. I would be spending quite a bit of time at our international headquarters in Evanston, Illinois, and I have done all of my orientation, my preparation, everything right now is being done from my home. I'm in a virtual studio in my basement right now. And so from a personal standpoint, that's been very different, but I've got to say the connectivity that I have found, the little dot in front of us that we've all learned to connect to has been really quite incredible. And the opportunity to be able to be in the living rooms of people around the world every single day, the thousands of people that I have been able to connect with and learn from and hear from and share with and hear their stories and trade exchanges of different things has been really, truly an opportunity of a lifetime. And it's weird to say that in the middle of what we have been through in such a dark time. But I think that has been a very large personal growth area. The the ability to connect on such an incredible, incredible level.
I'm really interested in your thoughts on the role of management in fostering diversity, equity, inclusion, particularly off the back of 2020, where we did have to adapt the workforce so much. So I'm interested in your views, one, as the incoming president of Rotary International, but also your role as a business leader through your organisation, Media Street Productions.
Well, diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that is gone far beyond being buzzwords. This is something that is now part of our DNA and something that I believe is a big part of the dialogue that we're going to continue to have, not only this year, next year. It's a decades-long plus conversation.
Jennifer, as a result of the changes to how we work and potentially what the workforce is going to be constituted and how it's put together and where people work, do you think that's opened up opportunities for women in leadership into the future? And how do you see this happening? What do you think of the perceptions or barriers that might still exist that we have to overcome if we're to have true equity, not only in participation in the workforce, but at all levels through the workforce and all responsibilities in the workforce and the economy?
There are a number of different ways that this is going to impact and affect us as we move forward as an organization. And I'm going to talk about virtual platforms again, because as we look at the way that we train volunteers on a global perspective, or even at a club level, and you can take this conversation and apply it to vocational practice as well. But for inside of Rotary, we have many different levels of training that go on, generally speaking, in person, face-to-face, in a classroom setting or one-on-one. These are sort of the ways that we do it. And we've just come off of an incredible training opportunity that we had with our district governors-elect, where everything was done in an online platform, bringing all 536 district governors-elect from around the world into a virtual setting to be able to learn. And while, of course, we miss the in-person camaraderie and fellowship and the learning from each other in person about our internationality, we have taken so many lessons from that in terms of what were some of the best practices that maybe we need to incorporate in as we move forward. And so I believe that one of the things that we're all going to see, regardless of what industry we're in, what organization we're with, whether it's government or not, is that hybrid is certainly going to be something that is going to live with us for a long time. And as we start to define new norm, I believe a hybrid approach to how we do things is certainly going to be a best practice and a best marker for us going forward. And so training, whether it's at any different level that it's being done, the ability to connect this way and then be able to amplify it by an in-person experience, I really do believe that's going to be the best practice moving forward. I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you once again for including me in International Women's Day. Ian, thanks so much for leading us through this dialogue and conversation. It's been wonderful. And to all of you who are listening, participating, I wish you all the best as you embark upon your day. And thank you for the kind of leadership that you provide in your community.